Hello and welcome to English with Jaya at Place. In our conversation series today, we have with us a very special guest, an extremely talented person, Kartik Bajoria. He's a communication skills educator, he's a mental health advocate, and has many creative pursuits. He is a great singer too. Welcome, Kartik.
Thank you so much, Jaya, for having me. And let me begin by saying quite plainly to your face that I'm a huge admirer of yours and the work that you do. And in terms of my own multiple pursuits, I keep saying this more and more recently that I think it's more a function of confusion rather than talent.
But it is a fact that you're extremely talented. I've heard the songs you sing, I've heard you speak. You are such an articulate speaker. And of course, what you're doing with mental health awareness, that's amazing. So, could you tell us something about your communication skills classes first? Let's begin with that. First, let's start with something light. Can you think of some blunders, some funny things people come up with?
Oh, lots. We live in such a beautiful, entertaining country that there are faux pas and mistakes being made all the time from myself, so and so, to can I have a bowl for my chips? The list is absolutely endless and it requires some restraint not to laugh when you're trying to teach and correct people.
Okay, I've come across many of those too because I'm also an English coach, as you know, and it's really funny. The thing is that you keep trying to educate people and tell them, don't say this, but they still end up saying the same thing. Okay, so,
But very quickly in their defense, Jaya, I must say the French have a very famous saying. They say that when you mispronounce and misspell French, you get English. And English is a very funny language. So it isn't entirely the fault of non-native English speakers that they make these little sort of mistakes, because it can be confusing.
it is very confusing, but the thing is that so many Indians and others also who are not native speakers, they feel a little embarrassed that we don't know English, we're making such mistakes. So, do you have a message for such people? Everyone is learning. People come to us to learn, people go to others to learn. Do you have a message? Should they feel embarrassed? It is not their native tongue.
I do have a very, very specific message, which is what I tell all the parents and students who come to me, is that if you cast your mind back to individuals who've influenced you with their speaking over time, you will find that neither are they masters of English nor pundits of Hindi. So yes, language is important, but perhaps we give it a little extra importance than it deserves, because it is your thoughts, views, and perspective that makes you memorable, and not necessarily only the language that you're using.
Very well said. Now, what is the latest you're doing when it comes to communication skills? Are you doing some project right now, some classes you're conducting? What is happening right now?
So there are several things, Jaya, that are on. My one-on-one classes continue, and I've been very, very privileged because I now have a roster of students who that sort of transcends geographical boundaries. So I have a couple of students pretty much on every continent, and that makes it very, very selfishly interesting for me, because even if I'm teaching similar material, the response that I get and the way it is sort of imbibed and digested is very different, and that keeps things fresh.
So, how do
Apart
people
from that,
find you? Sorry to interrupt. How do people find you? Do you have a page? Is it word of mouth? How do people find you?
it's mostly word of mouth. Mostly word of mouth. I am present across social media, but I think this kind of thing over a period of time just spreads by word of mouth. And of course, I do have long and short term engagements online, unfortunately, these days. Post COVID, institutes have figured out that they don't need to invest in boarding, lodging, and traveling and journeying resource people to their destinations. They can get away with half the money. But yes, long and short term institutional tie ups with a few colleges where depending on the requirement of the students. I teach anything from design communication to just becoming more rounded personalities.
Okay, now I'm adding a little bit of twist, a little fun element. Since I teach English too, I'm going to give you a tongue twister and I would like you to repeat it. Okay?
Oh, God.
Just
Okay.
one sec. How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Perfect. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about mental health awareness.